Hello guys, this is Sapphire Alchemy with the review for episode 4 of SleepyHollow is titled, what's the title of the episode? Hold on, I got it, wait. Is the Lesser Key of Solomon. So, we already know we're gonna do some good stuff, and this show is being real good anyway. So we start off in December 1773. If some of you guys do know your American history, you should know what this date should mean to you. If you don't, then please stay in school. And where else? So we have Ichabod in the Boston Harbor, preparing to dump the king's tea overboard. Damn that tea. So while the rest of his patriots, getting ready to dump some tea, he and a few others slip above a ship to retrieve a mysterious object. They then encounter a guard who starts speaking German, and then a blowing himself up. Except Ichabod Crane. Yeah, he blows himself up along with the other soldiers except Ichabod Crane. The flashback then ends, and then we see Ichabod is speaking to, we don't know who he's speaking to, but we just see him speaking. Um, starts talking about the Tea Party and his wife Katrina and how he lost her because of a certain irate headless chap on a horseback. And then we find out the person he's talking to this whole time has been the voice on the pretty much the OnStar operator, who's so apparently moved by the story because she's like, "Oh my God, that is so beautiful. I am so sorry for you." I'm like, "Really, dude?" Well, he doesn't know that, But she ends up thanking him for the story and saying, thanking him, for using OnStar and stuff. And then we find out as finally he gets out the car. I'm like, he hasn't learned how to get out the car yet. I mean, I guess it's a work in progress. He is from, around the time of the American Revolution. They didn't have cars yet. He was used to horses. But come on, dude, you gotta learn how to cars by now. You gotta get on the ball, Ichabod. Get on the ball. Anyway, so he gets out the car, and where we left off from last episode, Jenny Mills' asylum escape. So we did have Abby and Ichabod, work out a deal with the Captain Irving to, pretty much buy time to pursue her sister. So he pretty much gives them 24 hours. 24 hours or 12 hours? I think it's 24 hours. Is it 24 hours? Is it 12 or 24 hours? Can't remember exactly. Um, so we catch up to Jenny, who jumps into this bar. I mean, not jumps into a bar. Who comes into the bar, and the bartender gives her a shot of whiskey. And she says to him, did you you still got my things? And he hands her this bag, and she says to him, remember what I told you? One day this time is going to go straight to hell. And she says, I hate being right, because obviously, we got people being beheaded and shit. Weird things up in the hell happening. So then, the bartender ends up seeing these group of dudes come in. Who one of them is a piano teacher. We see a little bit earlier before we see the bartender, and one of them's a piano teacher with a German accent. And so they come in and ask him, like, "Hey, have you seen a woman that came in and stuff like that?" He's like, "No, get out my damn bar." Points his shotgun. He's like. And the German takes it in a hand like it was freaking nothing, like this plastic toy. And then they put him onto the pool table and proceed to torture the poor man. So of course the cops get called, and the cops come in. He's like, "Sir, you might want to see this." And the dude's head, he's headless. His body is impaled on a piece of taxidermy, and his head is on the billiard table. So he notices that it's not, obviously the work of, our previous killer, the headless horseman, given the fact that, torture was done to this man, and stuff was done to him. So obviously he got a different IMO, or however they say it in police talk. So we then also see Jenny, who is in some sort of, hotel that she, checking her stuff, make sure she got everything, she got her guns, okay, she got her newspaper clipping, she's straight. So she, she ready. Make sure she got all her stuff. She got her passports or whatever she need, her money. She ready. She is gung ho up in this mug. Oh, I also forgot to add, before German, and his friend, tortured the poor bartender. I mean, they didn't have to torture the man for real though. I mean, he told her, what they needed to know. He really didn't have to torture the man. Anyway, he ended up getting a call from some sort of mysterious voice about, she's out. You need to pretty much retrieve an object. So we're like, okay, what's this freaking object? Like, now you get curious. Like, okay, what the hell are we trying to get? What the hell? But if you look at the title of the episode, you kind of guess what we're going for. But not everybody's that smart. Back at the police station, we didn't have Ichabod and Abby shifting through Jenny's arrest records. Aside from her being a career criminal, turns out that Jenny pretty much has been all over the world. So they're like, okay, gee, you got the spicy. And that she has also been in several foster homes, and so they decided on check on her last foster home because she actually been there for a little bit longer. They get to the foster home. The woman, have you realized it's not taking care of these children because you get paid by the state for the kids to go. So she's like, look the girl like she is freaking malnutrition. The girl is scratching. That girl hair was napping. The girl was itching, so that girl probably ain't take no bath. She's sleeping on the floor. Abby said she was eating. I mean, literally. But some people probably be like that. Adopt these kids and don't even take care of them. They're just keeping them for the freaking money, and that's sad. Cause those kids could actually be in a good home with people that could care and love for them. But anyway, so after they pressed her about her being a deadbeat foster mom, they finally get out of her one of Jenny's own hangouts, a lakeside cabin that's 4 miles north to north. But they also get a parting shot from the foster mom. She says, "I'm to Abby. She told me about you, the good sister that just walked away. Who are you really mad at here, girlie? Me or you? Don't me." Yeah, Abby might be, taking a little bit of frustration out on you, but don't be trying to change the subject, ho, okay? You was not taking care of these children you let up in this house. Up here, was sitting in the with your nice little car. These kids is hungry. You need to feed them, be your mom, you lazy ass. Oh. Anyway, the cozy lakeside bungalow, they realized belonged to, what's his name? The Sheriff Corbin, yeah. So obviously, Abby didn't know he was keeping in contact with his sister, and she's like, "Really? Yeah, really." But they end up having like this little standoff. Well, Ichabod had to eventually pretty much get him to calm down, saying that if you really didn't like each other, you would have shot each other already. Instead of sitting there talking. Um, and we found out that Jenny pretty much aided him in his investigations for SleepyHollow, so that's why she was in the. That's what her record shows. She was been all over the world. And apparently, Jenny says Corbin knew the end was near, and he felt something was coming from him. And when I asked him what, all he said was death. And we have a flashback for Abby of when he got beheaded by the horseman. Sheriff Corbin had instructed Jenny to go to the cabin and retrieve something. Should he be sent off to meet his maker? A hidden compartment expands out the cabin walls, revealing a mysterious object. Thankfully, the two sisters have someone with them who is well versed in 18th century relics. Ichabod identifies the object as a sextant. Think of it as pretty much your GPS for your 18th century ocean ferry vessel. Ichabod begins to connect the dots. The sextant, the cartography, and mysterious stuff. Yeah, George Washington was in all that stuff, remember? So back to the Boston Tea Party thing. Ichabod and some dude they had orchestrated or a thing. They pulled it off as a mission ordered by George Washington himself. The mission was to steal mysterious about that the Hessian himself blew himself up trying to protect. About the Ichabod, the lone survivor of the explosion, was able to get back to the general. Ichabod shines a flashlight through the section, revealing a map of Sleepy Hollow on the wall. And it's a map of how Sleepy Hollow used to be like in that time frame. Obviously it's gonna be different now. It's 2013, but you can make it out. And so as they, realize they're getting close to, reading the map, figuring out what the stuff is. Hello, the Germans are back, and they start shooting up the freaking place. And they come in and take the sextant, and one ends up getting left behind because he's caught by Jenny, I think, I believe, yeah. Ichabod interrogates a man who has the same tattoo as the Hessian he beheaded on the battlefield. And though the war in the 18th century, the Hessians' fight for the sides of the forces of evil never ended. Ever since the Hessian explained, they infiltrated Sleepy Hollow, becoming their friends, learning names, learning secrets. So pretty much they're like, what they call it, sleeper cell agents, ones that's like, they don't activate until like a keyword or something and say like that, kind of like that thing going on. And the sextant of now we realize it has revealed to be another Garcia. It's the location of the Lesser Key of Solomon. If y'all guys don't know what that it's a textbook from a text from the Book of Revelation that will open a portal to the seventh circle of hell, creating 72 demons that are trapped there. The Hessian also revealed that they are working the service of a chief demon, Morlock, the same one Jenny and Abby saw when they were kids. The German, after revealing all this classified satanic information, does the honorable thing. He takes a cyanide pill. I'm like, God damn. They should have checked for that first though, like for real though. A man like that, they should have checked his. I think they cyanide pill. I think you hide it like somewhere in the back of your like a molar or something. You bite on it. I think that should have been like the first thing they checked for him. Especially Abby and Jenny. They should have been checking them because I don't think obviously they didn't have cyanide pills during Ichabod's time. So with the German Hessians having a name, they gotta figure out how we gonna find it. And we all remember, hey, your boy, he has photographic memory. So he starts on a paper, starts drawing it out, and they eventually find out that they pinpoint to this old church, this old Dutch Reformed church on the outskirts of town. So they get there. The boys already had the book, but they already started freaking doing the ritual, and we see like around this I'm trying to figure out what you would call it. It's like a podium, and around it is like a circle, and then we see like a silvery metallic like film that's up top, and then we see have like the demons, coming out trying to break the film and stuff. So it's like really creepy. Like I'm like, oh my god. I'm just like, please do not fall in, because I'm pretty sure none of y'all will find them. None of y'all want to be trapped in some circle of hell. Just saying. So they pretty much fighting everybody. Abby picks up the book and be like, and they pretty much start, give us the book or we kill your sister. And we kill you. They're doing all that stuff. Freaking, doing. I can't do that German accent, so please don't ask. I'm terrible. And I think I sounded non-German anyway. So she's like, oh, you want the book? So she closes the book, throws it into fire, thus closing the portal and trapping the 72 demons for pretty much the time being. They throw one of them into. Ichabod throws one of them in, and I think kills the other dude at point blank. Um, we didn't have Jenny and Abby share a tender moment in the interrogation room. Abby tells her sister that she can get her out of the psychic hospital if Jenny will consent to her being her legal guardian. I can't take back what I did, Abby says, but I can try to make it right. In closing out the episode, we didn't have Ichabod, seemingly the best suit of the lot so far, confirms that yes, the demon the Hessian mentioned is indeed Morlock, and he's the same demon that has been haunting your nightmares since you were a child. So, on some more notes in terms of background with SleepyHollow in terms of this episode. Okay, for you those you don't know, I'm pretty much so much already explained the whole Key of Solomon, but a little bit more detail on it. Okay, the Lesser Key of Solomon is a book which was not actually, according to what scholars say, not written by Solomon, given the fact that the terms used in the book pretty much was after the time he would have been alive and stuff. It's pretty much A.D. after the death of Christ. Is I believe it's divided in 5 parts. First part being it's divided in 5 parts. First part, I think first to the third part deals with mostly with demons and stuff. Demons. How to control them and invoke them, get them to do your bidding, stuff like that. Then also angels are in this book too, but given the fact that mostly when people hear about the Lesser Key of Solomon, is usually, oh my God, it's an evil book, but there's stuff about angels in there too. Okay, you gotta do your learning, your research. First book I think is called Aris Gotia. Yes, it contains descriptions of the 72 demons that Solomon is said to invoke and confine in brass vessel sealed by magic symbols, and that he obliged to work for him. Ooh, yes, I need to get something to drink because my throat's not doing good. Okay, then after that, you have the Aris the Guragotia is the second section of the Kia Solomon. It explains the names, characteristics, and seals of the 31 aerial spirits that King Solomon invoked and confined. Then there's the Aris Paulina. It's the third part. This art was discovered by the Apostle Paul. Is been known since the Middle Ages, and the first chapter of it refers on how to deal with the angels of the several hours of the day, to their seals, their nature, their servants, the relation of the angels with the seven planets known at that time, and the proper astrological aspects to invoke them, their names with and the names of conjuration and the invocation to call them. I'm like, whoa, okay. The second chapter that contains angels that rule over the zodiac signs and each degree of every sign, their relation with the four elements, their names, and their seals. They're also called. These are also called here the angels of men because all persons are born under a zodiac sign with the sun at a specific degree. The fourth part of the book is known as the Ars Almondale, which is a wax tablet with protective symbols drawn on it. And then that one talks about the angels that be evoked, explains that only reasonable and just things that are needed must be asked of them, and how the conjuration has to be made. Also mentions the 12 princes ruling them, and the dates and the astrological aspect that have to be considered most convenient to invoke the angels are detailed but briefly. Then the last part, which is the fifth part, is the Ars Notaria. It contains a collection of prayers mixed with Kabbalistic and magical words in several languages, and how the prayers must be said, and the relation that these rituals have to the understanding of all science. It mentions the aspects of the moon in relation with the prayers. It also says the prayers act as an invocation to God's angels. And then finally, it tells how King Solomon received the revelation from the angel. So that's pretty much what the Lesekia Solomon is. And then, of course, our villain for this season of our demon is Morlock. The demon is mentioned in the Bible. He's also mentioned. I'm trying to figure out what popular works he's mentioned. If you ever seen the film, what is it? Reefer Madness, the musical version. You know, it's all colorful and stuff. But the chick from what's that freaking show she was in? It was on it's on CW for a while. Veronica Mars, her. If you know, yeah, that actress, yeah, her. And in the song, I think when they start singing, it's people refer to it as the orgy. Is when they dance and they talking about when they finally get Jimmy to smoke the marijuana and they like do having like this weird orgy and it's like stuff and there's a part in the song they go more luck, more luck. And I'm like I just thought about like wait a minute, didn't they say that in that movie? And then also if you ever seen Metropolis, which is a black and white film that started in Germany. If you have Netflix, you can watch on Netflix. I sat down and watched it. Morlock is also mentioned in that one as well. So Morlock pretty much is the name of the ancient Ammonite god. Morlock worship was practiced by the Canaanites, Phoenicians, and related cultures in North Africa and the Levant. As a god worshipped by the Phoenicians and Canaanites, Morlock had associations with a particular kind of pro, pro, I can't pronounce the word. He did with sacrifice, child sacrifice by parents. Moloch figures in the book of Deuteronomy and the book of Leviticus as a form of adultery, and in the Old Testament, Gehenna was a valley by Jerusalem, where apostle Israelites and followers of various Baalim and Canaanite gods, including Moloch, sacrificed their children by fire. So that's just a little bit info on those two types of subjects in case you didn't know. You can also look it up yourself. Morlock is spelled Moloch, and Lesekia Solomon obviously spelled the way it sounds. Lesekia Solomon. So I'll see you guys next time for the 5th episode of SleepyHollow. Bye.